Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Linda. How are you? Hope everybody's doing well today. We have a fun little inky project. Hello, Lorraine. I think the projects that I just sit down and play with a bunch of, especially mixed media, those are my favorite. So I'm excited. It's so ugly cold. I know. Crazy. Like we had plus 17 here in Calgary last week, and this morning it felt like minus 18. It's yuck. So hopefully it starts warming up. I don't know, it looks a little bit better, but hello Irene, how are you? Hopefully next week will be a little bit better because it's just not fair, especially when you get a little taste of warm weather and then it's back to snow. It's been like off and on snowing for the last 3 days. Hello, Margaret Erica. So what have you guys been up to? Have you done any crafty stuff? Have you just been working? Did a little bit of crafty stuff, starting to think about Carnival. Hello, Doris. Creative Scrapbooker Carnival is coming up. So Calgary is going to be the weekend of the 12th, I think. I don't have my calendar right in front of me. Hello, Julie. Blizzards, Winnipeg. You guys were hit so bad. Is it still really bad today? I did see that on the Weather Channel and I felt very bad for you. So trying to think of make and takes for the event. That should be fun. Carnival, yes. Arlene, you'll have to come say hi at the Scrap Shotz booth. Hello, Jan Nadine. And yeah, just kind of, it's also hard to, know when we're getting product in these days. So that's another thing we have to kind of figure out. You created some layouts recently. Nice, Lorraine. Yes, lots of cards. Sometimes I do that too, a lot of cards. And same snow and wind. Oh, well, I hope that you guys get better weather. So this is the tag we're gonna make today, which is kind of fun. It's a fun background. And then I decided to kind of add some details and make it a little bit of a mixed media thing. I forgot my ribbon, I just realized, downstairs. So we'll see how that goes, but I'll tell you how I made it anyways. And we've got some grit paste. I don't use this often, but I was really pleased with how it turned out, especially with the embossing glaze. You finished an album with the Indigo Garden, Arlene. I bet that's amazing. That's such a beautiful collection. I actually needed some Easter cards last night for the teachers, and I wanted to give some to the staff, and so they had to be really, really quick cards. And so I sat down with, like, I think it was a Simple Stories Easter 6x8 paper pack, and then I had a Doodlebug paper pack, and I just cut and layered the paper and took those the little cut apart squares and glued them on and did some pop-ups, and I made 8 cards in like 2 hours. I was very pleased with myself. It is beautiful paper, you're right. So we're going to use the grit paste with embossing glaze. We are going to use some of the spray stain. I know this saltwater taffy had sold out in the store, so it I'm sure we'll be back in. Just use whatever you have, or you can color coordinate this with your embossing glazes and whatever stains and glazes that you have. You made 24 Easter cards? Yeah, I know. Well, good for you for getting them done. I know. It's like it comes to the 2 days before the event, and I'm thinking, how did I not like plan for cards? Hello, Sandy. You might have more. Oh, perfect. So Sandy's going to check if she has more. I'm using this pearlescent airless mister just to give some shimmery shine. So this one is the Pearl Whisper. This is really cool. It's a spray and it has mica powder in it, so it's shimmery. I've got some of the mica crayons here, and there's 4 packs of them. I don't remember how many are in each pack. Is it 3, Sandy? But there's 4 different packs of the mica crayons. Hello, Wendy, how are you doing? Hello, Samantha and Colleen and anybody who I missed, Gail. And they are the crayons, and they have a really nice shimmer to them. So we're gonna paint with those on the paper dolls. Now these paper dolls are ones from my stash, but I know the new ones that he just brought out are actually in the shop. So if you look for Tim Holtz paper dolls, you're gonna find them. These are just ones that I had in my stash from a while ago. So it might not be this exact one, but I'm just gonna kind of hold it up here and see if you can see in the light this shimmer. So really, really pretty, and it's really easy to watercolor. And this is the Altenew Leaf Burst stencil. So this is that one, and I did see that in the store. And then I just grabbed some fun little ephemera pieces. So this little ticket was an old one from a Prima kit from Scrap Shotz, and a Prima flower. There's other Prima flowers in the shop. Then the ephemera was from the Fernwood collection, and I really like the Fernwood collection for kind of a rustic, kind of grungy look. It's not grungy looking, but it kind of has that, it's not bright and rainbow. Oh, Wendy, you were replying to someone. You're doing the crop? Oh, I think, Wendy, you're asking Arlene if she was doing the crop. Are you doing the crop, Wendy? Yeah, Fernwood is beautiful. I just love the colors in it, the style of it. More of a muted color tone. I do like the bright colors, but I really like this collection as well. So I cut apart the Fernwood tags paper, and this paper is still in the store along with a lot of the other Fernwood 12 by 12 papers, and that's what I used along this little edge. I just cut a border. So look through your papers and see what coordinates with the color scheme that you're going with. I've got some Distress ink in Saltwater Taffy and Salvage Patina, and we've got some ground espresso oxide. So what we'll do first is I just have a plain manila tag here. You just got some Fernwood, Jan? Yeah, you will love it. It is beautiful. And I love all there's the sticker book and the chipboard stickers, and they're all really beautiful. So how I decided to place this on was kind of like this, so that the leaf burst here would almost look like it's coming in from the left-hand side. You could totally put it in the center if you wanted a different effect, and just place it however you want. So I have a little piece of this Spellbinders tape. This is the yellow tape, and I must say I'm really, really enjoying that tape. I find it sticks really well. This is the Waffle Flower Stencil Matte, and this is the mini, which I don't think that they're making anymore, but yeah, Sandy says still pretty fully stocked in Fernwood. So if you want to pick it up, I would say pick it up before Carnival, because I'm sure it will be gone, or lots of it will be gone after that. Though the crayons are on sale. Oh, that's fun. All right, so have a look for the crayons in the shop if you like how they work. yeah, the glaze is really fun. So we've got the grit paste. This one is the translucent. There's an opaque grit paste as well. So you're going to, of course, opaque is like white and you can't see through it. So you would get like a white undertone, whereas this is translucent and it dries clear. So it doesn't matter. You still can do the effect with both of those things. The grit paste has a really fine gritty texture, and it's really fun to add like as snow onto edges of stuff. The opaque would be really great for snow. Oh yes, thanks Sandy, I got distracted. The mini mat's no longer made, but the larger size is now in, and Sandy said we have a couple of the minis left, but after that we probably won't get any more in. And they both would work the same way, just of course the larger is bigger. So this one is about a 6x9 size, I think. And I'm placing the 6x6 stencil in this opening so you can kind of see what the size is. You can use these mats for lots, like you can do watercolor on them. You can, you know, stick your cutout things on and color them if you have stamped images. You can of course just do your stenciling on there. Lots, it's just has enough of a grippy surface that it's holding your thing steady, whatever you have on there. So when you take your palette knife, yeah, I'm really loving the stencil mat. So when you take your palette knife, you want to get whatever medium you're using on the back of your palette knife, because then that allows you to spread it over rather than putting it on, scooping it, having it on the front and then trying to press it down, right? So that's just a little tip. You love the glazes, Wendy? I do too. I think that they work really, really great. Even if you stamp and emboss a sentiment, they're fine and they have a really great color. They are translucent, and so you will be able to see through them, or if you stamp with a color, then the color that you put on top of the glaze is going to affect the color that shows underneath. So I'm kind of smushing it on, but then I'm using the edge of the palette knife to just drag it off. And it's not a smooth paste, it's got a little bit of a texture in it. On acetate, I have not tried that. I will definitely try it. That sounds very cool. And then, like any pastes, you're just going to want to wipe that off. And because we are going to pour the embossing powder over, isn't that pretty? Now you could let it dry like that and it would just dry and have a beautiful texture. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to leave that for too long because I do want to make sure I get it all dried. But I want to put this, it doesn't dry instantly, so you have time. I want to put the embossing glaze, which is a fine embossing powder. I want to put that on before it starts to dry so that I can emboss it. So if you're sprinkling, you are getting it into the spots that you want. You could pour it on, especially if you're just doing one color. But if you pour it on, then pour it off, it's going to cover whatever you've touched. If you want a little bit more variation in where the colors are, I'm going to wipe my hands off before I stick it back in the other jar. Then just sprinkling it on kind of allows you to get it in the spots you want. Okay, let's clean this stuff up first and then we'll shake that off and see what we've got. So there's quite a few different colors now in the embossing glazes, and I store mine in the crayon tin, so they fit really nicely in there. So in order to wipe off this mat, wipes off beautifully. You will see that there's pink anything, for some reason, anything that you have that's pink or purple will stay in the mat, but it doesn't come off. It doesn't affect anything. And I mean, this is a mat you're using, and you don't have to worry about not staining it, because if it's stained, it means you're using it and you're having fun with it. So you could just rinse this off. I'm just making sure to wipe it off so that I don't have that grit paste stuck on there. But it cleans up really easily as long as you're doing it, not leaving it to harden. There we go. Makes sense. You can do spraying on this mat, and it's heat safe as well, so we can emboss on it. So let's shake this off. And there you can see we've got lots of that color that's not just in one area, it's mixed throughout. I have a little bit right there that looks like it could use a little tiny bit more. So I'm not going to keep this mix because, and I could have used the powder bag on this if I wanted to, but really this is a mixed media tag, and that's kind of what I like with mixed media, that if you make a boo-boo or get a fingerprint, it really doesn't matter. The crayons were out of stock for the longest time, and I believe that once these colors are gone, they're gone, I think. Oh, the crayon tins were out of stock for a long time. Does the paper hold in place on the mat? It does. So let me just kind of, if you have your paper there, it just provides enough grip that it's not sliding. You can also, what I like to do is, if I have a smaller area here, which is why I think the big one would be nice as well, you can set your ink pads on, and then when you're blending, they're not moving around either. All right, so I think, give that a little blow. We can go ahead and heat that. Just let that heat up for a second. I love that stencil. So pretty. Now you're going to get some really cool effects with the Dristress grit paste, because it's going to bubble a little bit. And the glaze heats pretty quickly. Like, it's a really fine glaze. I don't know if you can see that on there. I'm actually, let's hold this up a little bit for you, because it's always fun to see. There you go. See how it starts to bubble? That is so cool. There you go. And it even just holds that enough so that, you know, if you have it sometimes sitting on something and it's flying all over the place, it just seems to grip it enough that it's holding it. So thanks, Margaret Erica. Very pretty. All right. So this doesn't have to be, you know, you don't have to do anything past this. If you liked this effect, it can be very clean and simple. You could put this on a card base. This could be your main card and your sentiment. But if you do want to kind of get mixed media inky, then it's a great start, because the embossing glaze is a resist now. Thanks, Lori. Okay, so then what I did next is give a little bit of a spray with the Dristress spray stain. So I don't want a ton, I'm going to move this piece of paper with the extra glaze. Oh, spilling all over myself. We're just starting to create our background now, so we'll do a few little sprays. Also, I wanted to show you guys this. I did a class, I don't even remember who it was with, but the sprays that they were using, when they were done spraying it, they dipped the nozzle just into the water and wiped them off. And I thought that was brilliant, especially, I think spray stains don't really clog, but anything that has anything added into it, it really, you really want to make sure you at least wipe it off. But I thought that was such a quick way to make sure your nozzle is wiped off. You're just dipping it and wiping it. Okay, so this is that beautiful spray stain is on the back. So let's wipe this up. And you can see right there where it's resisting. I'm just going to grab a napkin because I want to ink this. So I'm just wiping anything off that was sitting on that embossing powder. And then we'll start going in with our inks. Oh yeah, what do you guys want to see at the carnival? What kind of stuff are you looking for? Right now is when we're ordering stuff in. Sandy's busy getting everything set. So when I'm doing this, I'm going in a couple different areas, and you can see how much that embossed area really pops, especially when you get the ink. You can do this with oxide as well when you get the ink on the background. And I think we've got some fun things coming in. We're gonna have some Craft and Kimmy stuff there. Very excited about that. New manufacturers, yeah, I know a couple of them that are gonna be coming in. It's always so much fun setting everything up and seeing everything. We have as much fun doing that as you guys do coming in and seeing what we have. So this one is the salvaged patina. Again, I'm not doing anything that's too crazy. I'm just rubbing this on the background on the spots that I didn't add the saltwater taffy. And it's okay if some overlaps as well. And I like the way that you can see that spray a little bit behind there. Then we have some ground espresso. I just like the dark brown of the ground espresso. Yes, we will be in Edmonton. I won't be there, but the other girls will be there. Sandy and Scrap Shotz will be. All right, and with the brown, what I like to do is just go around the edges because I'm kind of going for that little bit grungy look. I just like that look sometimes. So you can go around the edge. You can also go over a few of the areas just to make those pop. And then what you can do is, we don't want to wipe off our background, but all we're doing is wiping, I'm just wiping very lightly on that embossed area with the grit paste and the embossing powder so that it wipes any ink that's stuck on that. And just cleaning my little mat as we go. go. Okay, now what we can do is take our pearlescent mister. So this is that mica powder. And you just want to shake it up so that all the mica is mixed. This is one of the cosmic shimmers. I think there's a couple different colors in the store. And then what we're going to do is we're just adding a light mist, because any of those inks are going to react to any kind of liquid that we put on. So again, I'm just going to rinse off my nozzle and give it a wipe. We'll dry this a little bit. I don't want to remelt my powder, but I'm just drying it a bit, and then I'm going to add a few drops of water. See that. So this is what it looks like here. The mica spray is called Cosmic Shimmer Airless Mister, and it's airless because sometimes the bottom will pull off. I don't want, like, if it comes off. Anyway, underneath this little bottom part, as you spray it, there's a mechanism that just goes up as the spray lessens inside the bottle, and so you can actually spray it upside down or sideways. It doesn't have to be sitting upright in order to spray. There's no tube that goes down to get it from the bottom. It just sprays it without the air inside the bottle. So this one here is the Pearl Whisper, and it's more of a clear shimmer. So I don't know if you can see kind of those pearly drops on there. And then we can take a few drops of water to even add a few more effects. So if you let that sit for a minute and then we'll dab it up, then anywhere where that water hit, it's going to make that watermark. And then we can get our little girl. So we'll let that sit for a second. So I have this little girl here. For this one I had chosen this, and the crayons work really nice in order to color your paper dolls, add a little bit of color. So like I said, the crayons in the shop, Sandy said they're on sale, which is fun. Okay, let's see if we can dab some of this. I think it might have dried before I dabbed it. You don't have to dab it up. It just creates water, whether you're dabbing it or not. It creates the little watermarks. So we'll let that dry now. And then I'll show you it close up. So I have a paint brush, water brush, and also I'm going to do her little cheeks. The small and the large stencil mats. I don't have the link right in front of me, Irene, but if you go to the website and just type in stencil mat, they're waffle flower, then both of them will come up and it'll show you the prices. This one is the pink, the winter berry, and you just turn the end of the crayon and it'll keep coming out. And so the mica crayons that are in the shop, they have, you can tell, like, they have a kind of a pearly cover if you have them with the rest of your crayons, but it'll say mica crayons in the shop, and they have a really nice mica finish. No problem, Irene. So I probably didn't need this much, but this also is really nice for any watercoloring painting. You can put your inks down, your crayons down. So we're gonna give her some little rosy cheeks. we'll leave that pink there because we might do something else with it. We've got the Snow Flurries, and I don't know which pack these are from. They're labeled like Halloween and winter, but you have a rainbow of colors. They're just divided up into 4 packs. So really all I'm doing is rubbing those on the stencil mat and adding some water to it with the brush, and then you can dab it off onto the side. Thank you, Lorraine. The mini stencil mat's $22 and large is $33. If I can, for some reason it's not letting me zoom in, of course. There we go. Hello, Rosie, how are you? All right, so then we're just picking up that crayon and we're gonna color whatever we want. So those paper dolls are just a really nice way. You can do this on stamped images. You can do this for a background. And if you want it a little bit darker, you just add in a little bit more crayon. And I'm just kind of deciding where I want this stuff. I think it looks cool just to have a little bit of color, especially on the black and white paper dolls. It just kind of gives a really fun effect. So this is the orange, it's called Jack-o'-lantern. So probably in with that Halloween pack. And we will color her jacket. And you don't have to be precise. It's really, you're just adding a little bit of color, and because this already has all the shading on the areas, you don't have to add any shading. You just kind of color over that area that you want to have some color added. And you can see, even though this hat was quite dark, by me adding a little bit of that orange, you still get a little bit of that orange effect. Winter, I know, Rosie, I don't know if it's ever going to go away. And Sandy linked the mats things. So this one here, I don't know that I need to use it. I used it on this. I mixed it with the blue. This is the Empty Tomb, and it's a really nice silvery kind of color. And I mixed it with the blue for her shirt. But because this is darker, we could try it on her shoes, or let's see what else we have in here. We could even add a little bit of this flickering candle. Let's see what that looks like. And there's a little bit of a coating on these paper dolls. So if you put the color on and you really didn't like it, you could just rub it off. So yeah, I think I'll just put a little bit of that flickering candle on her hair and her boots. I don't know that she needs too much more color here. Maybe just a little bit on her little cute little tie. I know there's some really great paper doll images in that new one that is in the store, the paper doll collection. All right, so this is her. Now she's all ready, has her fancy little outfit on, and as it dries, it's still a little bit wet. You're going to be able to see that shimmer. Oh my goodness, Wendy, yeah, not a good day for the furnace to die. Our furnace actually, in that really cold weather, the winter, it died, and we were lucky that our neighbor fixes furnaces, and so he came over, but it's not good. And of course, it's always like the worst time, right? It's never a good time that anybody's furnace dies. So we have, this is from the Fernwood collection, that ephemera from this collection pack. And here's our background. So you can kind of see the effects with the different layers and the water droplets. And the darker your background ink is, the more you're going to be able to see any kind of water effects as well. If you want to see more, you can add more ink on your background. So let's put this on and we'll see. Oh, I know another thing I wanted to do is I want to go in with my ink because I don't want this white. You can see, like, if you look here, you've got this white outline, and I just didn't want that. I wanted it to blend in a little bit better. So go in and add a little bit of color. Just by going around that white edge. And because we're using the ink, it's not covering the color in the background, it's just covering the white, really. Unless you had a really dark color. We can even go in with a little bit of the brown, just lightly at a couple different areas that have a little bit of that brown on it. I'm going to dry her because I feel like I keep sticking my hand into the crayon. It's just, there's a coating on the paper dolls, and so it takes a few extra minutes to dry. There. Now let's dry. And you can see, like, I stuck my finger in there, but it is fine. It does not matter. Okay, so we've got a bunch of things here. I've got this little ticket. That was a Prima ticket from an old kit from Scrap Shotz. We have a beautiful April kit in the store now. That features Cocoa Vanilla, if you haven't seen that. So I'm kind of just placing this, deciding where I want to put my stuff. Oh, and before I put it on, I have this little strip that we cut from that Fernwood piece, and I really liked the way it looked like it had stitching through it, so we'll put that on. And I actually forgot to do the stamping, so we'll do that too. So if you have any stamps that are just little scripty stamps, or you could grab a pen and do some outlining. I'm just using that oxide ground espresso. Hello, Tamara. Oh, good. I'm glad you got out of your meeting. I have to text you later. So I'm just putting this on, and it's going right over the edge. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just to add a few little spots where it has a little bit of text. So just another way to add some interest to your tag. I did also, now that I'm just thinking of it because I stamped on here, I also saw something on the Waffle Flower channel where I think they were using the larger mat, and they stamped on the mat and created an inverted image. Anyway, I'm gonna have to, just thinking now, I'm gonna have to look up that and figure out how to do that because it looked really cool. Okay, so let's trim this off, and I forgot scissors. So Erica has set up right now. She had my scissors, so I got them in the living room, and she's making pom-poms. There is yarn everywhere. So I bought pom-pom makers last year from Amazon, and we have so many pom-poms, it's ridiculous. Anyway, she sits there and makes, I had yarn that I wasn't using, and she makes all these pom-poms, and then someone gave her a pom-pom book on how to make Pokemon pom-poms. So she's been making them, and then she took one to school for her teacher, and then she came home and said, I have a whole sheet of orders. I have to work on these orders for people. So that's been keeping her busy anyways, especially since it's cold, so that's good. But yeah, apparently the Tim Holtz scissors are very good if you're creating pom-poms, and that's all she will use. They are funny, and she can do it all by herself, so it's been really great. All right, I'm finally using this little edge distressing tool. I remembered to pull it out. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of ink on the edge. I found a completely new bottle of art glitter glue. Very excited to use that. So I finally used up my, finally used up my 2 bottles that were kind of half empty, and I had just been using them every time, and they looked like they had been through, I don't know what. I think it's so satisfying, like just to use something up and then feel like, okay, I can get rid of that old jar and open up my new one. And hopefully we can start getting some more art glitter glue in the store. Magic glue pins. Yes. I lost the pin, and I think Sandy does have some of the extra metal ends, but I did find some pins that are stainless steel, because you can't just replace the pin with something that's not stainless steel or it will rust. Okay, so we're back to putting our little thing together, and then if you guys want me to, you missed which Fernwood ephemera pack you used. Oh, okay. This one is the Icon ephemera, so it looks like this. Does that help? It's not in the package the way that it was, but it's 50 pieces. So how I find that it's easiest to do this is, I know that I want her to have some foam tape on her. I've got my big roll of the foam tape, which I love. The 3L, the scrapbook adhesives. Large roll. And I do also like the strips of the same one. I just don't have it right in front of me, or I would have used it for the legs, because it's the same brand and it's actually the same height. So if there's some things that you want to put that you just need a small piece. So before we take off the back, I'm placing this. I know I want the top popped up of this, but the bottom is going to be glued down. And then similar to here. If you guys want me to show you how I do the ribbon, then I'll run downstairs and get it. So this, kind of like this. Let's see, she's going to go up a little bit. And then our flower is going to be right there. Okay, so that's going to work. What we'll do is we'll do her first. place her on, and we won't stick her down really tight because we'll make sure that everything goes underneath. We can cut this off right here. Victoria, are your glue pins the one that has like the little beads and stuff off the top? I did have one before, and Lorraine was very sweet and sent it to me, and I used it so much and it got bent and finally fell apart, but I did use it a lot. I got a lot of use out of it, and it was really great. So you can partially pop things up just by putting glue on one side and foam tape on another. You don't have to, if you're popping something, you don't have to pop the whole thing up. You're keeping tabs for the art glitter glue, yes. Oh, by the end of the month would be great. Oh, the jewelry on it, yes, that's what. They're beautiful. Thanks, Jan. And then we've got this little flower, so we'll put the flower down here. And let's see, I think we have time if you guys want to wait. Give me 1 second to run downstairs, and then I'm gonna show you how we can use the crayons. So this is just some seam binding ribbon. And if you have regular ribbon, you could do this as well. The seam binding ribbon is nice because you can crumple it up. How to make the glue pins. I think Victoria is our resident glue pin expert. Are you making them, Victoria? Would help them not get lost on your desk. That is very true, because sometimes you put that pin down and then you can't find it. All right, so we've got the colors. So I used just that silver color and the blue for this one. And what we're gonna do is we're just going to rub this on in a few different spots. The orange, and then we're going to spray it. You could also rub the crayon on your background, get it nice and wet, and dip your ribbon in. Okay, and then I'm rubbing my finger on it. So colors are going to mix a little bit. After I rub each color, I'm just kind of wiping my finger off, but really it's not that big of a deal if the color gets mixed a little bit, just if you don't want the whole thing to be kind of like a brown color. And there's lots of color, even though I just really lightly rub that. So I'm gonna wipe up the extra color. And then what I'm gonna do is just crinkle it. And when I left the other one, you can dry it with the heat gun if you want. basically you're just letting it dry, or you can use your heat gun to dry it. It might take, let's see if it kind of dries quickly, otherwise we'll just leave it. And then when you come back to it, you've got this really nice crinkled ribbon. Don't knock your crayons. Yeah, I think that'll take a little bit longer than I want to take. So we're just going to leave that there and then come back to that later. And then when I open it up, it's going to have all three of those colors on there and be just beautifully dried and crinkled like that. And you can see how the colors are mixed. So whatever colors you want to do are going to look beautiful. And then the last thing we'll do is we're going to add a few of these little Spellbinders gems, and there's a whole bunch of colors in these Spellbinders gems, and they're beautiful. This one here is the crystal mix, so there's two different types of crystals. And I did not bring my craft knife, but I find the best way to put them on is have a craft knife to just lift them up carefully and slide them onto your project. It's easier than trying to pick them off, especially the tiny ones, but it's okay. We'll do that today. Just gonna see if anybody, thanks Lorraine for stopping in. Happy Easter to you too. Thanks Victoria. This is seam binding ribbon. Thanks guys. So this one, yeah, it's just seam binding ribbon. It's rayon, and you can get it on a roll. Sandy might be able to order it in. I'm not sure if the distributor has it, but we can certainly check if that's something you're looking for. So there's our project. Yeah, I think that's kind of all there was to it. So it wasn't hard. You can follow any of those steps. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks for popping in. It was nice to kind of virtually see you again. Thanks, Victoria. Yeah, and if any of you guys are in Calgary for Carnival, definitely pop over. I'll be doing some demos and making takes, and would love to say hi. Hope you have a great Easter as well, Margaret Erica. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Lori. Yeah, it's just a fun, if you follow those steps with whatever colors, your products, then you can kind of customize however you want your tag to look. But it's kind of those easy steps that you can follow if you want to make something similar, right? All right, guys. Well, I hope that you have a wonderful Easter, and we will be having some turkey on Sunday, I think, and the Easter Bunny will definitely be coming, so we're excited about that. Yeah, and hope you guys have just a really great weekend, rest of your week, and I'll see you next week on Thursday. If there's anything in particular you're looking for Carnival, be sure to drop Sandy an email and let her know, and we'll see if we can bring it in. But we're really excited. It's getting closer, and yeah, hope you guys have fun, get crafty, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, can I show the packaging that the Fernwood ephemera was in? Yes. Sorry. So I think this is what you're looking for. 50 pieces, icon ephemera. Thanks, Lori. And that's the UPC code if you're looking for that. All right, no problem. All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye.